to the podcast. As it is right now, I think it is December 9th or December 10th of 2024. And when thinking about how I kind of wanted to wrap up podcasts for this year, I thought it would be very helpful to talk about some of my reflections from this year. Now, my birthday is in August, so if you guys listened to our third or fourth episode, that was literally a reflection video on my birthday. And I feel like in reflecting on that video, I talked a lot about friendships and keeping things simple and leaning into, people that fill your cup. I was very focused on friendships, and I want to talk a little bit more about business in this video, mostly because when I was sitting and thinking about why we've had the year that we've had, there's actually a couple things that I think have really contributed to our success and a couple things that have maybe thrown me off heading into, different kind of seasons of this year. This year was a roller coaster for me, not in necessarily a bad way. I just feel like I finally maybe a month ago got breathing room in the business where I'm all right, I feel really good because I did a lot of pivoting this year. So what's interesting is I went back to a couple different times where I've written down reflections. I've done a lot of reflecting at several points this year. I compiled those and I basically put together 5 of my top reflections and things for 2024. And again, I chose 5 of them going to 2025, and I kind of want to talk through those. And again, these are more business related. However, if you are very career driven or you are just in a position where maybe you want to launch a business, this will hopefully still help you. So what's really funny is when I went to go write these down, I actually asked ChatGPT to give me some feedback. If you guys don't know anything about ChatGPT, I have an amazing episode I did with my friend Sarah. She's a client of mine too, and she's massively scaled her business, which is insane. But she supports business owners with the introduction and integration of AI. And when I was talking with her, obviously she utilizes AI beyond what I could even comprehend. I'm at the ChatGPT basic level, but I've actually gotten quite good at it of taking some of her tips and kind of integrating that into our daily practices. I use it for content. I use it for a couple different things. I ask it sometimes to give me summaries of what it's seeing themes of in the questions I'm asking. And every time I ask ChatGPT anything, it always uses the words play and prosperity or prosperity and play as a common theme of me as a business owner. And I find that very interesting because I've never used the words prosperity and play in any of my marketing or anything else. I don't know if I would necessarily say that that's how I would describe my philosophy as a business owner, but every time I look at ChatGPT in any regards to me and my business, what are themes of my business? What are you seeing about me? What does my marketing tell you? It always, without doubt, this is the 13th time it has used the words prosperity and play. So we are going to use that as a theme in honor of how helpful ChatGPT has been to me this year. Play and prosperity as a guiding principle for my business. I did take a little bit of a step back, if you will, and I said, what does prosperity and play really mean? And when I really thought about it, I wrote this down and I'll just kind of read it. I said, I built my business around the idea that success does not have to feel rigid and exhausting. And I hope in the next couple weeks I can do an episode for you guys about how I maintain my schedule. I get a lot of people who ask me for behind the scenes of my business. How do you maintain 40, 50 clients at once without burnout? How do you only have 1 call on the calendar every other week? How do you do that, but provide the level of depth and support that we do? And here's the thing that I will say, and I will say this so intently. I joined a program a couple weeks ago. It's a year-long experience, and half of me is really excited. Half of me is this was probably stupid. It's a $15,000 investment. And this girl, the CEO of the business, basically people were giving her feedback about how to restructure the calendar to be better for everyone. And she's that doesn't align with my beliefs of having a lot of calls on my calendar. So no, it was basically, she has an A week and a B week of her schedule, or not her schedule, but how she helps clients. So if you're in the first half of the alphabet, you can only come to calls this every other week. If you're in the bottom half, you come on the opposite week. And people were could you just have 2 calls every week, 1 for one group, 1 for the other group? Which actually does not add a lot of calls to the general calendar, but it adds to hers. And she's absolutely not, because if we continue to scale, I'm gonna have to have 4 calls on the calendar every week. That's not in alignment. And by the way, that's totally fine. good for her. Like the fact that she has I think she's hit $8 or $9 million this year. So like clearly does very well. That would never be me. Like I would never, ever, ever say I only want a scalable business, so I'm not going to do it this way. Like I think there's a little bit of that's important. Like I don't do calls in my mastermind, but like I give the same level of depth. It's just not on a physical calendar scheduled call. But yeah, I just thought that was really interesting. The reason I'm bringing that up is I don't think your business has to be exhausting, and my business is not, but I support clients at a very detailed level. Like every one of our offers is geared towards women who want to scale past $1 million, regardless if it's a $97 masterclass or a mastermind or private or whatever it is. And when thinking about my business, I really realized how critically important it was that like my clients really do have the access to me that they want, but I also needed to do it in a way that was not exhausting. And so in thinking about that is, I think, what ChatGPT means by prosperity in play. That like, I believe you can be very, very wealthy and you can have fun doing it. And so for me, when thinking about financial growth, when thinking about scaling, I believe that your personal values can actually amplify your financial success, not hinder them. Like for me, I want to be extremely flexible to my clients. I want when a client sends me feedback about her content, I can review it in an hour. Like I like doing that. I know that some people are gonna be like, holy shit, Ashley, you're at mercy of your clients. Absolutely not. I tell my clients it could be up to 48 hours that I respond. I just personally choose to be in the weeds on a day-to-day basis. When a client's messaging me and I'm on a walk or walking my boyfriend's dog or whatever I'm doing, like running on the treadmill, whatever, I like thrive in the idea that I can be productive. My love language is acts of service. So like, for me, productivity, the reason I love that love language is like someone's helping me do something I need to do. If I'm walking and accomplishing walking my boyfriend's dog on a walk and also serving a client, that actually like fuels my soul. Like it is helpful to me. And I didn't realize that until this last year when I used to have calls from my clients that they wouldn't message me for weeks and weeks and weeks because they're like, I'll just wait till my next call. So their progress was slower. I felt like every single call was like so in demand. It's like, I have to make a lot of value in this call or else it was like a waste. And when I got rid of that, my clients literally all doubled and tripled their businesses because they were just like constantly growing and improving and they were moving quicker in their businesses. And I also had more capacity to move quicker with them. So that to me worked towards my value of being flexible and also caring about like my own time and my own energy. So play and prosperity to me as a guiding principle, even though I wouldn't have necessarily chosen those words, I don't necessarily have words I would have chosen. That is very important to me. I want my clients to feel like their business can be fun. It's hard work for sure, but making a lot of money and also enjoying your job, I think, is what a lot of entrepreneurs seek. And most of them don't ever get to that point because they're so focused on like the money piece. And my vision is to help women build disruptive and valuable and one-of-a-kind businesses that has to allow them to be in a position where they can build something that they also enjoy. So yes, are there days where you don't want to do it? For sure. Are there days where you're like, I'm really exhausted? Sure. But 99% of the time, I love what I do. I literally love calls with my clients. I love our group calls. I love our mastermind days. I love DMs conversations. Like I don't get bored or burnt out on clients messaging me. Like I love it all. And that is powerful. So that would be reflection number one. It is a guiding principle of my business and it is going to continue to be an important like principle moving forward. The next one is the importance of clarity. I mentioned earlier how much we pivoted this year. We made like 4 or 5 massive pivots. I think I've talked about this in the podcast in multiple different kind of segments and episodes, so I'm not gonna like deep dive into it. But here's the thing I will say. There are people that pivot because they are lost. They literally just make another move because they're like, I hope this works. It feels like spaghetti throwing. Then there's what we did, which was simplification pivoting. I don't really know where that term came from, but I'm just gonna call it that, simplification pivoting. But what we did is I started with a offer suite, an idea, a vision. And as I got clarity, it kind of required me to revise the vision and compact it to what was most impactful for me and my clients. And what do I mean by that is every time we made a pivot, it actually had nothing to do with like changing, but just enhancing. But the enhancement was like monumental. And the reason that the enhancement was monumental was because the clarity was monumental. And so one of the things that I will say in regards to clarity in 2024 is I got the most clarity by listening and attending events. So I want to talk about those two things. The first one is listening. As a business coach, my job with my clients a lot of the time is to coach. And I have to give in information. I have to guide them. I have to revise their, ideas. I have to redirect them, right? This year I decided that was not going to be my role as a coach. My job as a coach was going to be to listen. Now, I do not mean that in the silly sense of I just listened, was yeah, sounds great, you got this. I just mean I really honestly got to understanding how they were processing. And I would ask questions to help them deeper understand why they're processing that things those way, and also for me to understand back. So my ability to ask questions this year got really, really good. It's a skill set I always talk about with my clients when they're I'm struggling with this person won't respond back to me about blah, 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 and I'm trying to get them an answer. I'm did you ask them this question? Did you do this? Same with my clients when they're struggling with something, I always ask them a question. I don't respond of how I would fix it. And they're wait, I actually don't know. So you're right. I need to figure that out first. Then I can do it. It literally rewires their brain. So my job this year became a lot about listening. And as I got better at listening, I actually got better at understanding my audience, my clients, their desires, their struggles, and my ability to pivot the business to align to marketing better, which is why our sales fucking skyrocketed. And then also supporting the clients better also skyrocketed. And one of the things I talked about was our retention rate this year. Being at a 90% retention rate in this space is unheard of. And we've maintained that. In fact, it's gotten better. And about half of our clients re-sign before they even get to month 3. Which means that we have clients who are coming in thinking, I'm nervous, this is a big investment, and they're freaking out. They sign, and then 2 months later, they sign for the entire year. That is powerful, and that is really what we've been able to accomplish because of listening and being an active listener and an intentional listener to my audience, my clients. The other piece was in-person events. There is nothing that will make you feel more seen and heard than being around a lot of people. Immersing yourself in that experience is so fucking impactful, and it's hard because I think we all want answers. But I will tell you, as you become more and more successful, you will care less about having answers and more about having true clarity. And so clarity actually can give you the answer. So if you seek answers, you will be stuck with information that then you have to process. If you seek clarity, when the clarity comes, you will then know how to process the information and figure out what information is actually necessary for you. So if you seek clarity, not information, you will be much more successful next year. And when I went to in-person events, I was kind of immersed in a situation where I was forced to experience clarity. And therefore, then the actions I needed to take, the information I needed to process, what I needed to do, all that just kind of fell with it. And so I would recommend for all of you guys, attend an in-person event next year. Even if you don't know anyone, even if it's super nerve-wracking, does not matter. Attend the in-person event. It will change your life. So clarity is magnetic. It's powerful. It's life-changing. Seek clarity. Don't seek information. So going into the third thing that I feel was a really big, eye-opening thing for me this year is the importance of frameworks. And I know this sounds super freaking nerdy for you guys, and some people are very pro framework, some people are very anti framework, but this is the thing that I want to say. I am obsessed with our business framework for By the Blazer. We have 6 key pillars that we focus on that takes clients from their initial state to their desired state of scaling, having consistent leads, seeing clients, sign within 24 hours of finding them, smart, scalable offers, working, not a ton of hours in your business, a very simple but powerful, very profound business, right? That's really what we are trying to build. Disruptive, invaluable, intentional, those are the types of things that we do. Those 6 pillars are our guidepost to everything. I market with them, I talk through them. They are how our portals are organized for our clients. First of all, I have this fucking itch on my thing, but I am fucking obsessed with our framework. But this is actually what shifted this year. I started to realize that our framework wasn't just about how we teach, but I had to integrate it into an auditing process for the clients. This was very eye-opening to me. So now when a client's coming to me and they say they have a problem, right? Clients are reaching out, but they're not buying. I'm okay, so where is that, where's the gap? And they're well, it's a conversion issue. Great, we have a sales issue. Awesome. So there's a couple different ways we can go with this. Are we having an authority issue where people are DMing us, but they're not really qualified? Like our marketing is not speaking to an empowered buyer? Is it our sales process where when we are having conversations where we don't know how to navigate them, so then people are basically falling off or ghosting us? Like, where's the root issue coming from? We've been doing a lot of diagnosis practices and just analysis this year, I guess you could say. When we're talking with clients, instead of saying like, okay, like this is how we solve it, where again, I talked a lot about asking questions to the clients. We got very, very good, we being me. I don't know why I say we, Lex. Like I always say we. I do have Lexi here with me, but like in coaching regards, it's me, and I'm always like we. I think it's because I have 8,000 brains, but that's fine. When I am talking to a client, the number one thing that I want them to do is be able to diagnose the root cause of their issue so they can attack it quickly and then solve it quickly. So when a client is struggling with a problem, they basically look at our framework and they figure out where the problem is, and then they start to identify the root cause of that problem within the framework. So now clients are actually understanding how those pillars apply to them more intentionally versus it just a coaching opportunity or like asset to me, I guess you could say. The other thing that's been really interesting is as I'm looking at my business, I started to realize that my clients do really well when I can group concepts together versus just provide information. Again, this comes from, are we telling people all the shit that they can do, aka they're only valuable if you're there assisting them, or are we understanding how to change the way that they think? And so when I started coaching more intentionally, I started actually frameworking areas of my business. Like we have this 4S sales framework, we have the authority content influence model, which we talked about a couple weeks ago. We have all these different processes where now when a client comes to us, they're like 90% of the time self-sufficient. Because they're like, oh yeah, I like figured out this model, I implemented my information within it, I feel good, these are my gaps, like how can I improve this? Like it is insane how much more intentional my clients are growing and how much more strategic they are at an earlier stage of their business. Like I have a couple clients who came to me under $1,000 a month, and they're now at like, one's at like 13K she did in 1 week, the other one did 100K in November. I have a couple others that are like 50, 60K months, and their ability to like diagnose and self-audit themselves is like the reason they keep staying. Like I kept thinking the only reason people are gonna wanna work with me is if they keep having problems. Not like I would add in problems to their business, but ultimately because that's like what I thought my value was, like teaching them how to solve problems. They keep staying because I'm elevating the way they're thinking and looking more intentionally at scaling their business, and they're actually kind of adding problems themselves into their business by saying, okay, now we've been able to achieve so many sales and marketing results. How can we create more scalable offers? How can we improve team? How can we do this? Like their businesses, the depth in which they are going is amplified. So that has been a big kind of focus on frameworks. It allows our clients to scale with more impact, and ultimately those proven processes make it easier for my clients to kind of understand like what their priorities are. So frameworks as a foundation to scale. If you guys go under like our identity pillar, we literally have trainings on frameworks. I love frameworks. Like I really do. Methodologies, processes, like I'm all about them. So that would definitely be, I think, kind of that third focus, which makes transitioning into the fourth one very seamless, which is simplicity over complexity. I have talked about simple business so much this year, and here's the thing, you guys, you don't have to keep it simple just because I think it's easier for you to maintain. It is so much easier for your clients to understand your business when it is simple for them. When they come and they look at your business and say, this is easy, this feels simple to me, this feels like easy to digest, I don't have 8,000 options of ways to work with you, I don't have 55 links I should choose from, I don't have 4 content programs, I'm not exactly sure what's different between them all except for one's $3,000 and one, like the way that people used to market and add shit in to be like, I have more to offer you, look at this. I actually have given my clients a lot less in the last year. Now, intentionally, I've skimmed out some things that didn't make sense to them, and they have actually been able to thrive quicker because we focused on the things that actually move the needle. And what I basically figured out this year, and looking at the year, especially as a business owner, is what can I do that actually moves the needle as best as possible, as quickly as possible, as intentionally as possible? What is that thing? And for me, we have like 20 posts that I literally just post over and over and over again. I don't recreate anything. My marketing is really easy. Our sales process is super simple. I typically am focusing on converting from the front end. So people find me, they get into my DMs, I talk to them there, done, like easy. Every part of our business is just so fucking simple. Our offer suite is literally 3 offers. Like, I just want my business to feel easy. And a lot of people, when they tell me that their business feels complicated or they work a lot, the amount of steps it takes to onboard someone, confusing. The amount of, steps it takes to take a client from this place to this place, it's so exhausting. And I think my vision for 2025 is to even simplify further so that we make it easier for people to pay us, we make it easier for people to get results, we make it easier for people to get information that they need on board. Like every single bit of our business, I talked about this a couple episodes ago, is not about adding anything, it's literally just refining. So if I'm looking at I don't even know, any area of our business, it's like, what can we shave? What can we literally shave? Like I want to take a razor blade to every area of my business and shave it. Was that like a funny analogy, Lex? Like, I don't fucking know. Anyway, I'm just I was trying to think of how I look at it. We're just gonna take a razor blade, or better yet, do what I do and just get laser hair removal. We're just gonna laser hair removal the business. But no, truly, I really want the business to feel easy, right? Like, it's funny. So every time I think of an analogy, I always think of a second one. And I was thinking about how swimmers can't have any hair because if they have any hair, it makes them swim quicker or swim slower. Okay, so you know how swimmers, they have to shave so that they're really they can swim as quickly as possible, every second down. That's how I'm literally envisioning my business right now. It's how can we literally have the swimmer as a fucking naked mole rat, in the pool? That's our business next year. But it makes us quick. It's simple, right? You get in the damn water and you fucking go as quickly as possible. That's kind of our business right now. We are eliminating anything and everything that's getting in our way to keeping our business as scalable as possible. So that is a lot of our focus. So simplicity over complexity. And then the last thing is community and collaboration, driving successes. I was just talking to one of my best friends and we are thinking about hosting an event next year. And she's like, well, what if you get 10 people to come and I only get 5 people to come or vice versa, whatever. What do we look at with that? And I'm like, who fucking cares? Let's just have a good old fucking time, which is funny because now I'm going back to ChatGPT telling me play and prosperity is my focus, which is funny. I wanted to make it profitable. I want to make it insane, but I also want it to be fucking fun. And that is how I'm looking at basically this coming year is how can I do lives with my clients more? How can I get on more podcasts? How can I connect with more people? What are the steps that I'm taking to create community? Because here's the thing, if TikTok actually goes away in January, which maybe it will, maybe it won't, but if it goes away, that app was so focused on community and connection, and Instagram I don't think has necessarily figured that out to that level yet. So for me, it's how can I facilitate that in different social channels? How can I facilitate that in my programs? And I really want to be known as someone that's literally everywhere because I just realized that visibility, even though it is not my dominant marketing, strategy, it's very, very important to me that I figure that out because again, social media can go away any day. And for me, I also just really value being able to be in other people's worlds. I kind of hate that phrase, the online space. We always talk about, get in my world. Once you're in my world, I fucking hate that terminology. But it's kind of true. People have kind of created their own little social media worlds. And when I can tap into that, it's it adds my own disruptive, high energy, high, insane, crazy, sophisticated lens to it. And I feel it's always going to have kind of my mark, in that world. And so for me, it's how many worlds can I connect with this year? How many people can I know? How many circles can I tap into? And I think you're going to see a lot of me for next year, really doing more connections, doing guest expert trainings and masterminds. There's so many things that I really want to do. And I think that comes from this energy this year where I realized how lonely entrepreneurship is and how much I fucking desire to be around people at all times. I did this, it was kind of a quiz. It's you're masculine and feminine. You basically rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being super masculine, 10 being super feminine. And one of the questions was like extroverted or introverted, and I was like a 9 on extroverted. Like I crave people. If I spend time, like if I'm exhausted and I spend time with my friends, like I immediately want to go home and like jump around the walls. Like I am an energizer bunny. Like I love energy. I don't think that comes across in my social media, but I'm such an extrovert in that way. And for me, like the energy of other people, I like love that. I like want to like be fueled off of that. And that is going to be a big focus into 2025, because 2024 was powerful and enlightening and very lonely. But it also reminded me how much like good people, having them around, like isn't just amazing for like my heart, my soul, but like for my business brain. And I've had a lot of people tell me that they've seen like a total shift in me this year, like the way I talk about business, the way I coach, the way I mentor, and it's all been to collaborations and connection and all those pieces. So you're gonna definitely see a lot more of that from me in 2025. So with that being said, I am going into 2025, I think, ready to kind of fuck shit up a little bit. I think I've been a little bit curated at this point, and I really am excited to do more behind the scenes. I think just not even market so much of like, here's the issues, this is what you're experiencing, DM me, scale. Like I did a lot of that this year, and I really want to get more into a place of like, how do you just feel like I fucking need Ashley around? Like I just want her in my business, in my life, like around. And I think that's going to help with visibility. I think it's going to be good for content. I think it's going to be helpful for conversion. I just want to kind of eliminate a lot of the structure that I've added, because my structure is so sound, because that's just how I operate, that I think if I can remove those walls a little bit, it's just going to kind of bridge the gap between my audience and me, and even further deepen the relationships with my clients. So I'm hoping that you guys can experience that on the podcast. I've always wondered like what it would have been like if I made the By the Blazer podcast, not its own brand. But I'm also really excited to talk more about behind the scenes of the podcast, how I operate in the podcast. I just think you're going to see a lot more content from me this year that's like very unfiltered. Again, mostly because TikTok was like my dominant platform, and I'm excited to bring that same non-curated energy to Instagram in 2025. So I hope regardless of when you're listening to this, that you all have a very happy new year. I am really ready for the new year. 2024 was a tough one, amazing, but also really tough. And I always get really energized in the new season. So stay warm, stay safe, and I will see you guys in the new year.